Welcome to Driveway DIY, where we bring the shop to you. Today we're going to show you how to replace a starter. You need to disconnect the battery before you start this project because this here will be live. So we're just going to jack up on the subframe. We've got the front end jacked up. The jack is under the cross member. Now we need to set a jack stand for safety. So on this particular project, we're going to use 2 jack stands, and then we're just going to slowly lower the jack, and we're going to take this jack completely out. This is a typical starter mounted to the bell housing right here on our 2JZ engine. There's 2 electrical connections on the typical starter. There's this one here, which is behind this little rubber boot. You can see that there. That's your main battery connection. This right here, this is actually a plug for the trigger. This is what triggers the starter to actually engage the engine and turn it over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push and pull that out. Now I'm going to remove the battery post from the starter. I'm using a ratchet with a long extension just to make it easier to film. We'll remove the nut and the terminal. We're going to tuck this aside so it's not in the way. Then we put the nut back on the post for safekeeping. You may find it easy to have an assortment of wobble joints or a universal joint if your bolts are obscured. So now we have an extension with 2 wobble joints on the very top starter bolt. Slowly remove this upper bolt. The lower bolt is much easier to get to. Now we just need to remove this lower bolt. Starters are very heavy. This is a modern gear reduction starter, so it's lighter than your older style starter. Then we'll pull the starter out of the engine bay. Then we take the new starter and we're going to slide it up in here. You will have to maneuver it around things, get it to drop into position. Okay, there we go. All right, so then we're just going to hand thread this bolt. Then you can go ahead and tighten up your starter bolt. Next, we're going to reinstall the trigger wire, snap it into place. Then we're going to remove the new nut and washer that came with the starter from the battery post. Take our battery post terminal, stick that on there, and replace the nut and washer. Then just tighten it down. You do not want to over tighten this nut. If you over tighten it, you can twist the terminal in the starter and break it. Last step, cover that post with the original cover. And that's all there is to installing a new starter. Find all the parts you need to get the job done at ebaymotors.com.